Cuba is attracting some additional and new airlift, including its first ever flight from China. Air China has announced it will start service between Beijing and Havana in September, while Germany's Condor will increase its flight to the island in the winter and add a new route. According to Caribbean360.com, leading airline Air China will be operating 3 weekly flights with a stopover in Montreal, Canada. Cuba's Grana newspaper said the new flight has the potential to turn Havana into a hub for Chinese visitors traveling to other parts of Latin America. More than 28,000 Chinese travelers visited Cuba in 2014, an increase of more than 27% over the previous year. A new media watch group has been launched with a particular focus on the Caribbean, prompted by personal attacks and insults by mainstream media in Trinidad and Tobago directed at one local freelance journalist, Marcia Braveboy. According to Caribbean News Now, as this played out in part on social media, posters were encouraging Braveboy to go brave, which resonated with New York-based media activist Brittany Battle, who decided, along with some industry colleagues, to launch a media watch group called Go Brave in solidarity with Braveboy and marginalized media workers everywhere, and to attempt to bring some sense of responsibility, integrity, and ethics to Caribbean media in particular. According to Battle, Go Brave will expose corrupt media practices that promote a one-sided agenda, whether political, social, or commercial, especially biased reporting that manipulates facts and statements, and hold the media accountable for misreporting. Battle said that they believe that the public has a right to the facts and that journalists should be exposed when they do not adhere to their professed ethical standards. As part of this project, Battle has registered the hashtag GoBrave, and everyone that wishes to support the objectives of the new group is encouraged to use it when posting on social media. The OECS Commission hosted a communication symposium June 18th and the 19th to demystify the complexities of communicating on climate change and its related issues. The symposium, held at St. Kitts Marriott, attracted over 50 media and communications personnel from around the region. Communication specialist at the OECS Commission, Tekla Fontnard, noted the need for improved awareness and behavioral change about the impact of climate change across the OECS subregion.
We recognize that because the climate change predictions are constantly changing, and climate science is really not a perfect science, that communicating on it is a challenge. It's a challenge for media people, it's a challenge for communication persons, etc. So we thought if we put up such an event and media people came and they began to understand the issues themselves and the science is broken down, as well as by if we have presenters that can talk about their experiences in communicating on the subject and what sort of techniques they use in terms of awareness building and approaches to communications, then it would be much better for media persons to be able to communicate themselves, build a certain level of confidence, and build what you call climate literacy, and being able to speak about the climate change issues easier to the wider public.
The main objectives of the symposium were to highlight challenges related to climate change and examine strategies to scale up best practices and maximize the use of available climate change media products that already exist in the region. Chief Facilitator Dr. Maria Protz of Canada, who resides in Jamaica for the past 25 years, says participatory communication is one of the missing components in development communication.
Most people in the region have heard of the term climate change. They have, if maybe not a completely accurate idea about it, they know that it's happening, they believe it's happening, and they have some understanding of why it's happening as well, and that it's going to impact them. But what we still need are ways for people to participate in the dialogue about what's going to be done. Right, and also to participate in what they'd like to see their government say when the government representatives, especially from the small island states, which are, we're so small and our voices don't really count. People want to be able to tell their government representatives, go to the Conference of Party negotiations, the COP negotiations, and tell them this. You have to bargain and lobby on our behalf.
Participating countries at the Climate Change Symposium were Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, Grenada, Montserrat, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the British Virgin Islands, and Anguilla. Member states of the Organization of the Eastern Caribbean States, OECS, are planning to take their integration a step further with the introduction of a swipe card that will ensure hassle-free travel between countries. Already, there is no need to obtain a skills certificate to move and live in any OECS member state, and a driver's license allows citizens to drive in any country in that subregion. Now, Director General of the OECS Commission, Dr. Didacus Jules, says a biometric swipe card is coming. People from the OECS will not even have to fill out immigration cards to move. Dr. Jules added that the integration movement was progressing admirably and there is still some way to go, but within the overall project of Caribbean regional unity, the OECS is far ahead. The OECS is a 9-member grouping comprised of Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, Grenada, Montserrat, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines, with Anguilla and the British Virgin Islands being associate members. And 14 Caribbean countries are among 30 territories blacklisted by the European Union as the world's worst tax havens. According to Caribbean360.com, the list published by the EU on Wednesday includes Antigua and Barbuda, Bahamas, Barbados, Belize, Grenada, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, St. Kitts and Nevis, and the British Overseas Territories of Anguilla, Bermuda, British Virgin Islands, Cayman Islands, Montserrat, and the Turks and Caicos Islands. Each of those countries and the other 16 on the blacklist had been suggested by at least 10 EU member states as problematic because they were not doing enough to crack down on tax avoidance. Jurisdictions commonly labeled as offshore tax avoidance hubs, including Luxembourg, Jersey, and Switzerland, were not on the list. The European Commission, the EU's tax watchdog, issued the list at the same time it unveiled a plan for tackling corporate tax avoidance. The aim of that plan is to tax companies where they earn their profits rather than allowing firms to shift money into low-tax jurisdictions. And coming up next on JTV News. After decades of operations on Virgin Gorda, Byers Creek Resort has closed its doors. More and more individuals are seeking assistance from Family Support Network. Green Exhibition brings awareness of the various applications of recycling and rare plant species discovered on Tortola as the National Parks Trust works to conserve BVI's flora.